including this is the boundary trail. This is heavily used trail, and especially now with e-bikes going through there, it causes a lot of damage to the trail. It is unimproved, and so every storm event, Public Works, before, during, and after, they spend time on this. I mean, right there is somebody trying to get mud out of getting into the storm drain system. And this happens on almost every location where there is an entrance to the trail or where there is, access to the trail. So it's, everybody's seen all the beautiful sandbags on PV Drive North or PV Drive on the entrance to the city, where a lot of the bikers park and access the trail. That's a huge effort to maintain control. But so that's the last one. And any questions?
Can you talk a little bit about using this example? What does stabilization look like? What's actually done?
There is a lot of methods to stabilize a trail. I mean, is you do sediment traps, you do soil stabilization methods to actually improve the surface where bikers and people walk. So that's some of that. Erosion control measures, how you capture the water and how you prevent erosion to the trail. But you have to really do a design and implement something.
Okay.
I think my questions would be around the Boundary Trail Stormwater Retention Project. If it's about $10 to $11 million, it almost seems like it would be better off just to keep paying the $60,000 fine every year for the rest of the time. But maybe all joking
You're
aside,
assuming it's not going to escalate.
right? Yeah. Just put that in the bank and get the interest off it. But maybe joking.
That'll fund the
aside,
capital projects.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of like the pension debt reduction.
If we had check for $10 million, we'll do that. But the $10 million is a pretty big number. Seems like last time we talked about this, it was very early in the conversation around it. We had sort of just received the violations, I think. Has that number gone up just because we've realized the scope of it is bigger, or is that kind of always the number and we just didn't have it sort of penciled in yet? I can't really remember the early conversations, to be honest.
I think it's the complexity because there's a lot of restrictions on where the project is possible. So it's site constraints, and now we know more, and that's the reality. With the visibility, we looked at various sites where we could possibly implement something, and then different technologies, and so that's where this comes from, and we have more information now.
Okay.
David?
You mentioned that e-bikes were a contributing factor on some of these trails. Is that something that is documented, or is that something we ought to look at prohibiting if it's going to cause further damage and deterioration?
I mean, it's...
Good luck is right, but...
No, it's... I see them when I'm on the trail, so I experience, so it's just being conscious. I think it's education with the community in how to use trails and how to protect the real resources that we have. I think that's part of it. So it's outreach and, partnering with the users of these e-bikes, because they're not going to go away. I think they're here to stay. So it's, I think education has to be a big part of it. And then the other part is building infrastructure that can actually sustain these kinds of bikes there.
That's really where I was going. Does it require a more sophisticated trail? And with, one of the things that a lot of our residents, they don't understand that the increasing costs are, a lot of technology has been changing over the years, whether it be e-bikes or whether it be other things that, you know, the dunes over here by the golf course. And those all create additional costs for the city maintenance to maintain and or repair. And it's a part of the culture that we live in today, but people don't want to recognize the cost associated therewith.
No, I agree. We have other really beautiful trails, all of the trails on the medians on Palos Verdes Drive. They're great, and we invest very little on it, but we try, like we have on our contract with our landscape contract, to do a little bit of maintenance, but it's very minimum. But you're right. Any new infrastructure is going to require attention. And so,
Well, you brought up before that even the trails along PB Drive North and West aren't part of the capital plan, and they're deteriorating and they need loving TLC. And we don't have that even on our inventory of assets that we have to be concerned with.
that's right.